Hare Krishna, the devotees, speech except our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is a recording of a class given by Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in 1974. Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 22. Without further ado, we start the class. Hare Krishna.
Kim kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam
Babaya, not bio, babaya.
Vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ Kim kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam Kim kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam Kim kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān
rāṣṭrāṇi
itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān
vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ. snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni.
rāṣṭrāṇi avaropitāni.
itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam. kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān. rāṣṭrāṇi avaropitāni.
tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
Go backside.
rāṣṭrāṇi avaropitāni.
itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān.
rāṣṭrāṇi
rāṣṭrāṇi avaropitāni.
itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam.
Weather. Kṣatra-bandhūn. The unworthy administrators. Kalina. By the influence of the age of Kali. Upasṛṣṭān. Bewildered. Rāṣṭrāṇi. State affairs. Or. Tair. By them. Avaropitāni. Put into disorder. Itaha. Here. Tataha. There. Or. Ashana. Accepting foodstuff. Pana. Drink. Vāsa. Residence. Snāna. Bath. Vyavāya. Sexual intercourse. Unnamukha. Inclined. Jīva-lokam. The so-called administrators are now bewildered by the influence of this age of Kali, and thus they have put all state affairs into disorder. Are you now lamenting this disorder? Now the general populace does not follow the rules and regulations for eating, sleeping, drinking, mating, etc. And they are inclined to perform such everywhere, anywhere, and everywhere. Are you unhappy because of this?
kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān rāṣṭrāṇi tair avaropitāni itas tato vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam. In this Kali Yuga, everything is topsy-turvy. The Vedic way of life for living condition, we require to eat, we require to take bath, we require to sleep, we require to have sex also. Everything must be in regulated principle. Because human life means regulated principle. Unfortunately, the human life has become irregulated than the animal. This vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ, snāna and sexual intercourse, there is, at the present moment, there is no regulatory principle. The Vedic principle is that early in the morning one must take bathing, then worship the deity, read Vedic literature, mantra, then offer foodstuff to the deity, then take prasadam. Everything is regulatory principle. And it is the duty of the government to see that these regulatory principles are being observed by the citizen. This is government. The Vedic system, this Brahman, the topmost class of the human society, their business is to study the Vedas, pathan, pathan, jajan, jajan, dana, pratigraha, ideal character, very learned. Still in India, now it is formality. A Brahman is called Panditji. Pandit means very learned. Without being very learned scholar, one cannot become Brahmana. Or Vaishnava. Vaishnava is further, above the Brahmana. Brahmana is the preliminary qualification for becoming a Vaishnava later on. So, how this principle should be observed, just like government still, they regulate. In your country there are so many regulatory principles. Just in the shop, foodstuff or fruits, they should not be too old or rotten. The inspector is there. If there is not to the standard, they are thrown away. Similarly, not only these stores and shopkeepers, but even in household affairs, there should be government inspection. That is stated in the Shastra. Whether a man who is professing to become a Brahmin, whether he is following strictly the Brahminical rules and regulations. Satta, sama, dhamma, titikha, arjava, jnanam, vijnanam, astikam, brahma karma, sabhava. Similarly, Kshatriyas, whether he is powerful, he is brave, he has got forwardness to fight. When there is fight, he does not go back. And whether he is making charity, the Kshatriya qualifications are also there. And similarly, the Vaishya qualification, Krishi Goraksha Banijam, whether the one who is professing to become Vaishya, whether he is making agricultural attempt, giving protection to the cows and making trade, and Shudra karmas, Parichajyatmakam. Shudra's business is to serve this higher class, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Shudra cannot live independently, that is Shudra. Nowadays, the education is that nobody can live independently. Higher education means if he does not get a suitable service, then it is useless. Nobody. The education means nobody can live independently. One takes titles in education degrees, agriculturist. but he does not go to the field actually to act as agriculturist, Krishan. No, he is finding some job in some school, college, how to teach agriculture. Nobody goes to the land, practical, how to plough the land, how to produce food. Simply theoretical knowledge. I am teaching you, you are teaching. That's all. This is going on. No independence. So, why this has happened? Because here it is said, King kṣatra-bandhūn. Kṣatriya is the administrator class, the government. So, in Kali Yuga, they will take charge of the administration or government, but they are not real Kshatriya. They are less than Shudra. So how the government will be nice? Therefore, it is lamentable that those who are not Kshatriyas, they are taking the position of government officers. And further it is explained in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, 12th canto, Kriyahina, and they are not following the rules and regulations of Kshatriya or Brahmana. Still they are claiming to become Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya. And there is a mercantile class nowadays, interested in business, but business is one of the items of the Vaishya. The first business is to become agriculturist. Vaishya class, they are meant for making arrangement for our eating. That is also required. Kshatriya is meant for give us protection. And the Brahmana means to give us the ideal life, what is the goal of life. And Shudra, they cannot do anything of this. Therefore, they are Shudra. So, in the Kali Yuga, the Shudras, Shudra means last, less than Shudra, the Chandala, they are taking the part of Kshatriya or Brahmana or Vaishya. That is the effect of this Kali Yuga. Therefore, it is very lamentable. One must be trained up. This very word kṣatra-bandhūn means, even though one is in the royal family, but he cannot administer. Just like in England, now the royal monarchy is finished all over the world. Even there is monarchy in some countries, just like in England there is monarchy. The queen is there. But the queen is also uneducated, she does not know how to rule. It is an official post only. The parliamentary sanction, simply she signs, that's all. She has no power to rule. So power or no power, the Kali Yuga, the administration will be done by less qualified, no qualified men. King kṣatra-bandhūn kalinopasṛṣṭān. The system will be disturbed on account of this Kali Yuga. Kalinopasṛṣṭān, rāṣṭrāṇi. Rāṣṭrāṇi means states. Tair avaropitāni. Put into disorder. So, in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, you will find everything, whatever is necessity for the advancement of human civilization, everything is there described. And knowledge also, all departmental knowledge, even astronomy, astrology, politics, sociology, atomic theory, everything is there. Vidya Bhagavata. Therefore, if we study Srimad Bhagavatam very carefully, then you get all knowledge completely. Because Bhagavad begins from the point of creation. Janmadasya jataha Vedanta. It is the explanation of Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means the essence of cream of Vedic knowledge. That is Vedanta. That cream of Vedanta knowledge is further explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are publishing Srimad Bhagavatam. Our students specifically, they should take care of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. We have therefore prescribed in our school, Dallas, that let them simply learn Sanskrit and English, because English translation they will be able to read, and the Sanskrit verses are there. And from the very beginning, if they begin education with Bhagavad Gita and then comes to Srimad Bhagavatam and reads the whole literature, then they will be more than MA PhD. More than. The knowledge will be so advanced. These ordinary university degrees, MA PhD, because the essence of knowledge is there. Nigama kalpatarat gulitam phalamidam. It is stated that what is this Srimad Bhagavatam? The Nigama kalpataru. Nigama means Vedas. It is just like kalpataru, desire tree. We have no idea of desire tree. What is desire tree? It is in the Vaikuntha Loka. The trees are desire tree. Desire tree means from any tree you can get any fruit or anything you want. That is called desire. Here it is fixed up. You can get mango from the mango tree, but in the desire tree, whatever you want you can get. So kalpataru. Kalpataru means any departmental knowledge that you require to execute your human form of life, that we will find in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama kalpataru golitam phalam. Golitam phalam. Fruit, generally whatever fruit we eat, that is not golitam phalam. Golitam phalam means the fruit matured in the tree. Here we artificially mature. We take the fruit unripe and by artificial method we get it ripe. That is not acceptable. But the fruit which is ripened fully in the tree, that is very palatable, sweet. Nigama golitam golitam phalam. Fully matured fruit. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Fully matured fruit of the desired tree known as Vedas. So, in this verse, we find that due to mismanagement of the government, people will have no regular principle even for taking bath or eating or sleeping or sexual intercourse. And another point is here that vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ. They can give up eating, they can give up sleeping, they can give up everything, but cannot give up sex life. And the Vedic civilization is to avoid sex life. Just like these hippies. Hippie means they've given up bathing, given up eating, given up sleeping, but they cannot give up sex life. And everyone, not only the hippies, vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ. Ultimately, so many yogis, incarnation and others are coming in your country, but they cannot give up the sex life. You have seen advertisement, so many yogis, they are having sex life, so many incarnation of God, having sex life. You see? A big sannyasi swamis. Long ago, some Swami came here. He returned with 3 women, and we do not wish to discuss many more. You see, the sex life is very strong in this material, in this age. But sex life should be regulated, not that anywhere and everywhere or any time. You know. Therefore, the population is unwanted population. One irregular sex life produced the Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu's mother became very sexually agitated, and she wanted to sex with her husband, intercourse, and just in the evening, Kaśyapa Muni, he said, no, this is not the time, proper time. No, but she was insistent. So the result was 2 demons were born. So everything should be regulated. But in this age, there is no regulation, there is no knowledge. Less than animals also, they have sex life at a certain period of the year. Not always. But human being has become so low-graded that that is due to Kali Yuga. Therefore, it is very lamentable. Everything is topsy-turvy, no regular. It is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy that we are reforming the whole society very simple way. Chant Hare Krishna. You see. It is so nice. You see. The examples are here. It is no story. Simply by chant. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama iva kevalam kalo nastiva, 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 gatirannatha. There is no other alternative. Simply chant Hare Krishna mantra. Everything will be reformed, life will be polished, and everything will be successful. This is kṣatra-bandhūn. Human being is also a soul. Animal is also a soul. Everyone. But the human form of life is meant for God realization. Tato Brahma jigyasa. This is Vedanta Sutta. Jivasya tato jigyasa. Not only human being, everyone's. But everyone less than human being, they cannot inquire about the absolute truth. What is the aim of life? What is absolute truth? What I am? What is my relationship? These things are the subject matter for discussion in the human form of life. But unfortunately, on account of Kali Yuga, the heart being full of dirty things, they cannot think of the aim of life, how to achieve it. That is called Kali Yuga. Therefore, so much fallen socially, politically, economically, culturally, everything, religiously, we are so fallen and downtrodden that the only method, as recommended in the Vayu Purana and other Puranas, Kalau nasteva. Kalau means in this age of Kali, nasti eva. There is no other alternative. And factually, by spreading this Krishna consciousness movement, we are seeing practical result. The most wretched, most rotten, they are coming to life, they are understanding the value of life, the aim of life, and they are trying to be elevated more and more. Of course, it is an attempt, not that everyone will be successful, but if everyone follows the simple rules and regulations, he will be successful. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. The 4 simple regulative principles: no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intox. And chant 16 now. Very simple method. Because the difficulty is they do not know what is the aim of life. The aim of life, that we are conditioned by this material nature, embodied by the material elements, and that is the cause of our all miserable condition of life. Therefore, Rishabdev says, Nunang pramatta kurute vikarma. Pramatta, we are so mad under the bodily, everyone is under the big scientists also, they are also. They don't believe there is soul. Big scientists, politicians, philosophers. Jashatma buddhi kunapiti dhatuki. They remain animals. If anyone has taken this body as the self, jashatma buddhi kunapiti dhatuki, sadhik kalotra disibhomuit. So, the modern Kali Yuga is very, very dangerous for the human being. They are given chance by the laws of nature. Now take your birth as human being. Because to get a body as a human being or as a demigod or as a king or as a lower class man or as an animal, that is not in our hand. That is in the nature's hand. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani san. I have several times explained, as you are infecting yourself with the quality of material nature, you get a different type of body. Karanam gunasanga asya sadasad janma jonishu. The lower and higher grade of life, different types of body. How we get? That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Karanam. Karanam means reason, cause. What is that cause? Karanam gunasanga. The living entity, the soul, is associating with certain quality of the material nature, and therefore he is getting different types of body. We are all living entities, even the trees and plants and cats and dogs. And why there are so many different species of life? 8,400,000 species of life. Why? The reason is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Karanam gunasangas. The gunasanga. As we are infecting the quality of this material nature, we are getting. This is completely in the hands of the material nature. So therefore, it is the duty of the human being how to get out of the control of the material nature. That is the greatest science. But they do not know it. That is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Nunang pramatya. The rascals have become mad. Pramatta means mad. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma. Simply acting sinfully. If they are advised that don't do this, this is very dangerous. You'll be involved and again in the birth and death cycle. They have no knowledge what is birth, what is death, what is this body, what is the aim. No, simply blind animals. Simply blind animals. And still they are going under the name of scientists, philosophers, politicians. This is the misfortune of the present age. The nunam pramatta kurute vikarma jad indriyapritaye aprinoti. The same thing is explained here. Vāśana-pāna-vāsaḥ. Indriyapritaye. Simply for sense gratification, they are doing anything nonsense. As madman. Nunam pramatta kurute jad indriyapritaye. What is the aim? Aim is not self-realization. Aim is how to satisfy. Never mind. Risk everything. Satisfy your senses. Therefore, real civilization is to teach the children from the very beginning of life how to control senses. That is called brahmachari. That is called brahmachari. To learn how to control the senses. So everything is topsy-turvy, and 5,000 years ago or more than that, these things were being discussed, and people were very sorry that very bad days were to come, and still we can predict. There is no, it does not require very much advanced knowledge. In the Shastra, it is stated what will be the later ages of Kali Yuga. That is also stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The beginning is already there. Anavrishta, karopirita. One side there will be no rainfall. Now, yesterday somebody was telling that in this California, the rainfall is now not so much, I think, Jayatitha. So, rainfall will be practically very, very little, anavrishta. And another difficulty will be karopirita. One side there will be famine, scarcity of food, no rainfall, and another side there will be excessive taxation by the government. So people will be so much disturbed because you have no food. There is scarcity of rain, you cannot produce food. And at the same time, government will give some morsel of food and levy taxes. So, duddhikha karopirita disturbed, gachanti girikananam. Achinna daradurvina gachanti girikanam. Being disgusted, they will give up their family and children, separated, and they will go to the forest or the hills. This is another. And another will be, there will be no more available. These food grains, especially wheat, rice and milk, this will be finished. So, very, very bad days are awaiting in this Kali Yuga. Therefore, it is our duty to finish this business of material life and go to home, back to God. That is business. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear Buddhis. This is a very, very instructive lecture, especially the way Srila Prabhupada ended it. What we have to do is get out of this material nature before things get really, really bad. Srimad Bhagavatam has already written what's going to happen in the future. Srila Prabhupada gave a quick run-through of things that would happen. Of course, in the beginning, so many other things were discussed. today, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, if you want to talk about things that actually struck you quite a bit, that is your takeaway, you definitely can unmute yourself and start the discussion or join in the discussion as you like. Hare Krishna. Again, giving all respects to Vishnu, maybe you can start us off. It's up to you. Hare Krishna. Accept our humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna. Parikshit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
The Prabhupada made the analogy at the beginning, just like the government, when there's fruits, they have an inspector come, and if the fruits are bad, then they throw them away.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. And similarly, he gave that analogy is the kshatriya's part of that person's duty is to check to make sure that the other varnas are doing their jobs. That was quite interesting. And then he made a comment about the fruits that he said that the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, because the fruits that you get nowadays, they're not ripened on the tree. They're picked green. And
Yep.
that's so, like, for example, bananas, they grow them in Central America and then pick them green and put them on a boat, bring them to Harrisburg or Philadelphia, and then they put them in a room and spray them with a certain kind of gas that's supposed to be similar to the natural enzyme that makes them ripen. And so then that's how they make the bananas ripen. Sometimes you get a banana that has not been exposed to gas, and it never ripens. It just stays green. Ever had one of those? Yeah.
I've seen quite a few bananas green now that they put in the supermarket. I mean, it's just
Well, those ones, most of the ones that they put in the supermarket, they've been sprayed already, and so they're going to ripen. But sometimes, once in a while, you get ones that are green, but they'll never ripen, and that's because once in a while you can get the same thing with tomatoes. They do this. They pick the tomatoes green, and they put it. They ship them to their destination, and then they spray them with some kind of chemical, and it makes them ripen. So, but the Prabhupada's analogy was that the fruit on the actual tree becomes much more tasty. So similarly, the knowledge from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit, is actually much more tasty than other things. I thought that was a very interesting analogy that Prabhupada gave. Then he mentioned about the duties of the different varnas, and usually in school, at least in this country, when you're growing up, you're indoctrinated with the idea that monarchy is bad and democracy is great, is wonderful, isn't it? Everybody gets
that's the way they're pushing now.
Indoctrinated. I mean, since from probably 200 years, because the United States supposedly has an exemplary democracy. But Srila Prabhupada made the very important point that if the leaders aren't trained in proper administration from understanding the spiritual principles, then whether it's democracy or monarchy, it's going to be a mess anyway. And we see that nowadays. Nowadays, it's going on. So the most important thing is not monarchy or democracy. We're very proud of democracy in the United States, but so-called democracy, but it doesn't really make a difference. If the main thing is, if the leaders are trained in understanding God consciousness and how to rule or administer the state in that light, then things can be nice, very good. And Srila Prabhupada made the comment also about many swamis had come to the United States, and they came with they couldn't follow the no illicit sex principle. And he mentioned about one swami who came and then he went back to India with 3 women.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who that is, but that was one of
No, I don't know. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, it starts with a V. He came from Bengal. He was one of the, there was a certain mission that they had. Anyway, Prabhupada didn't name them, so he said he didn't want to speak about
Yeah.
it. But there's so many. There was the
Rajneesh.
transcendental. Yeah, you mentioned it, and the transcendental meditation guru, and you can, and then there was also the Divine Light Mission, and almost without a exception, all of them, there were many allegations of those kinds of activities. And we're so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada not only taught, but gave the example of how to remain transcendental and follow those principles, which is as an acharya. Anyway, and then the last thing was Srila Prabhupada, he said, we should finish our business in the Kali Yuga and go back to Godhead. And that reminded me that he would often say that his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, used to call the material world like an outhouse. You remember that?
No, I never heard that before.
You never heard this one? So what do you do in an outhouse? An outhouse, you finish your business and you get out. So similarly, this material world is like that. We have to finish our business in Krishna consciousness and then get out. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for this. Is nice main points here talked about and discussed and reminded to all of us. Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions you have? Then please unmute yourself. Shane, go ahead. Hare Krishna. Accept my humble obeisances. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble Srila Prabhupada.
Right.
I just thought it was interesting what was mentioned about how the Vedic system, everyone would wake early, take bath, and go through the whole process of reading scripture, chanting, all the way down to the Shudra class, which I just thought that was interesting, and how today the whole world is run by a class even less than Shudra. So it was just fun hearing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's just actually Shudras are even more they're even more regulated in some ways. But right now we have Chandalas, meat eaters, Yavanas, people like that. And they take up the political positions and they don't know their left and their right. So there's no training, and that's why life is so difficult. And of course, people don't even know the aim of life. If people knew the aim of life, there won't be so much fighting. But that's going on now. All of the wrongs that people do to each other, it's just from ignorance. We don't know that the human body is actually the best type of body in the material world to get for getting out of here. I see the Prabhupada says it's going to get bad. It's bad and it's going to get worse. And we just have to go back home. Remember, there's only 5,000 years in the Kali Yuga now, and it's already like this. So, good advice the Prabhupada is giving. Get out before you actually live in a life that is worse. We have to live this life properly, because if we don't, then we run the risk of being given another physical body and being put back in the material world, which means then, of course, it's not going to be even like the way it is now. It's going to be worse. And if you get out of the human body, that's even worse, because then you can't go home, because the other type of bodies cannot be Krishna conscious. You just you don't have the intelligence to get to that point of Krishna consciousness. So 2 things. We have to try very hard to push this philosophy, this understanding, this lifestyle, and the reason why we live like that. We have to convince ourselves and stay that way so we get out of Maya, convince other people, and also prepare to leave this place. This is material world. It's the jail. Good things don't happen in jail. That's just the way it is. Any comments? Any other comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the devotees on the call. So many nice points that Prabhupada has given to think about today.
Mhm.
One thing like Prabhupada was mentioning was the symptoms of Kali Yuga, and we won't have food grains and all these things. So
Mhm.
that was something like it is one of the things that easily convinces me that the scriptures we don't have to doubt the scriptures. Like that is one proof that people already were intelligent previously. Like many people think that, oh, previous people were like stone age men and they were like of less intelligence, but this just proves from the scriptures that they had a lot of knowledge, and you know
Yeah,
they were like something better in their life. So that was something for me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, but it's also consistent with the fact that Kali Yuga, as it progresses, it gets worse. And if it's getting worse, that means previously things were not as bad as they are now. And in the future, it's going to keep getting worse. Now it's just so much confusion. And personally, when I just think about what's going on in this world, I am absolutely surprised at about how much hatred is now there between people. So much hatred is there. Even in religion now, people are just using that to foment hatred between one group and another group. Hmm? Even in the same religion, there are different groups that hate each other. Hmm? What's going on now? So people are just mentally something really, really bad, something really wrong. They don't understand what it is like to be a human. So this is no place to stay. Worldwide, there's problems like that. So this is no place to stay. And that's why it comes to exactly what Srila Prabhupada said. Get out of this material world. If you go to another planet in the material world, it will have its problems too. Because the material world itself is like that. So we have to go. We have to leave. Hare Krishna. Any final comments or questions? If we still have questions, we can definitely discuss those too. But this is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful ways that Srila Prabhupada has described what has happened. People, he said, and I'll just make a few of my own notes. In Kali Yuga, people are fallen socially, politically, economically, and culturally. That's a whole life there. But even material life is fallen from it. But anyone who follows the simple rules and regulations will be successful. For regulated principles and chanting 16 rounds minimum of japa gives success. So much protection will come. And then also, in the end, we head back home away from the material world. Otherwise, we get different types of bodies next time. And the types of bodies we get is not in our hands either. We don't decide that. But we are associating with a certain type of mentality in the material nature, and that determines the type of body. Except that whether we like it or not, it will be imposed on us if we have to take another body. So it's best to do what Srila Prabhupada says so that we don't have to deal with another body. Srila Prabhupada talked about nunam pramata kurute vikarma. People are acting simply just for sense gratification. And he actually advised that the real civilization is to teach the children from the very beginning how to control the senses of brahmachari life. So in the future, there will not be rainfall, and there will be more taxes, and there will be famine, between scarcity of food, and people will be disgusted. Some people will leave their families and go to the hills or to the forest, and then there will be no food grains. So all these are coming. That's Kali Yuga. Very bad days are waiting. So you just jump out when you can. And the method is to do regulated principles, stay there, determined to obey the regulated principles no matter what our mind tells us, because our mind's going to play games with us. For many of us, it's like that. But stay the course. Stay the course. If you fall, it should be a temporary fall or temporary into that situation. Every now and then, if you're in a topsy-turvy type situation, some of the waves are going to get you a little bit, but Even in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 9, that is discussed. That, my devotee never perishes. When situations happen, you just quickly correct yourself. Definitely be sorry for that and be more determined to stay the course, because the end is huge, huge, huge in terms of the advantage that we get getting out of the material world and all of these problems to be gone. You don't have to deal with it anymore because spiritual life is eternal and blissful. That's what we really want, but we can't get it here. So we have to prepare to go. Any final comments or questions? If not, then thank you very much for coming. Srila Prabhupada has really, really opened our eyes with this one, as he does in all the lectures, but every one of them hits us in a particular way. I hope it has for all of you. Have a nice Krishna Conscious Day and the rest of the week. Rath Yatra is coming. Rath Yatra is June 20th. So we'll be preparing 2 weeks before that, 2 Sundays before that. There will be snāna-vyavāyonmukha-jīva-lokam, and then there'll be others too. I think graduation is also coming up, children's graduation. These will be announced. Check the temple WhatsApp and you'll get the information there. If you need to get on there, if you're not on there yet, then please let us know. Anyone that you know, just tell them, and you'll be put on so you can know what's going on and what's going to happen in the future. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.